copies of Bioshock Infinite here. I've picked 3, and we'll pick 2 more a little bit later on. We were asking for an acronym for TRLDM, which is Trolldom. That is the clan that Snoot has been using with him and 2 other Norwegians. However, I picked 3 winners that I really liked. The first one, he actually sent in several entries, but I like 2 of them in particular. It's from Solid Nua. He says TRLDM means Terran rules, latency doesn't matter. He also put in tactical roaches lack decent micro, which may also be true. So we're going to send you a copy of Bioshock Infinite Solid Nua. Also, from Evire, toss redemption leaving David's mouth. I like that one a bit.
Damn, that's so moody.
Yeah, too edgy 5 me. That was impressive. So I'm going to give you Bioshock Infinite, which is a game which is also too edgy 5 me. And Thor's repel drones, lings, and muters. From Commander. They are pretty good at killing drones. I'll give you credit for that. An underused function of the Thor, I feel. So congratulations to Commander, who will also be receiving a copy of Bioshock Infinite. I will get that stuff sent out later in the broadcast when I actually have the time, and we'll pick 2 more winners a little bit later on.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
However, the Clash of the Titans, the old country, right here. We've got Russia versus the Ukraine, and it's going to be opening up with Titan versus Cass on the biggest map in the pool, Altazim.
Dude, this map is so big, I genuinely think Cass is going to do some serious work here. Titan is a player who likes to, even though he might strike you as a passive player in some of his games, or as like, I don't know why you would think that if you watched him play. You know what? I think I began the sentence wrong, John, and I'd like to begin a different sentence.
As you wish.
So, here we go. Titan likes to do really slick attack maneuvers. A passive example of which is going 3 base, ultra fast 3-3 versus Terran, and winning with 1 big death ball push. He's done that before, but most notably, he likes to do Warp Prism Harass, little cutesy pokey antics. But this map is huge. So huge. I think that a lot of those pushes, whatever they may be, are going to be problematic. So I think lighter harass, storm drops, more expanding, more cannons will be the key.
Yeah, I think you might be right. We could have a really great game here. I hope that we do. Altazim actually up to this point has shown some really awesome games in this tournament, which is surprising because it's a map that many pros said that they did not like and have repeatedly vetoed over and over again. Indeed, in Shoutcraft America, everyone asked that Altazim not be included in the map pool. But that was when Altazim had just come out, so I have a feeling people are starting to get the hang of it, and they're starting to see the potential of this map.
Yeah, we've gotten a chance to see probably the sickest games consistently on this map. I mean, there was the Kost Daishi crazy base trade game. There was Damaga's amazing 100 drone maneuvers that were just delightful to see.
Yeah, they were really, really good, and they resulted in some awesome games so far. But we could have the 3rd time unlucky. We may end up with a terrible game on our hands here, but we will see. I would love this to go late, because TVP lately, it kind of goes the same way for the most part, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot like the Terran player getting bio with Medivacs and maybe doing a killing blow somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, and if they don't, it's a lot of counter warpins and the Protoss washing over with a gigantic unstoppable force at like 20 minutes. But we haven't really seen a lot of Terran players have back and forth games that have them winning at around 30 minutes.
I think there's a possibility that on a map this large, you could have that happen. If the Terran and the Protoss both establish so many bases, you could certainly see it. There's the big high-tech death ball army that we often see from the Protoss. It can only really be in one place at once. It's not that mobile. Zealot run-bys are obviously very effective, but at that point, you're starting to run up against planetary fortresses, so you can't necessarily do that when the Terran's up to 5 or 6 bases, which sounds like an unrealistic prospect, but this is Altazim Stronghold that has 20 expansions, so...
20 bases!
20 bases, yeah. That's more than anything in the pool.
You know, I think this would be an excellent map to do the Fun Day Monday challenge of you must build 4 command centers before your first unit building structure. I think that's really...
Four CCs?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 4 base before anything is the play. So
Wow.
you can do things like, you know, hatch, pool, gas, zergling speed. Like, there's an opening. This map is great because it's so easy to hide stuff.
That is true. You could just put the CCs pretty much anywhere. Although, I imagine you'd almost have to, especially against Zerg, you'd probably have to wall yourself in with those CCs to have any chance of surviving. If the Zerg finds you first and figures out what you're doing, you're dead.
For sure. You are done.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not so much for the Terran player. Admittedly, if you do pull it off, it does become fun, because suddenly you have more money than you can possibly spend. You're floating 5,000 minerals, you feel great, you feel like some kind of Russian oil baron, a mogul, and then you die anyway because your macro's terrible. But if you somehow get better at that, you can do whatever you want.
You know, I really think that the next evolution in the metagame is going to be the 4 base before anything play, because when you win, it just feels so rewarding, and when you lose, you're like, dude, I was doing Fun Day Monday. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it was the same logic I had when I laddered for 2 years with Dan in Street Fighter 4. It's like, dude, I'm playing Dan. If I lose, I'm playing Dan. But if I win, it's like a double win.
Dude, that is the truest thing ever. They're like, dude, Dan, oh man. Dan in Super Puzzle Fighter HD Remix is the funnest. He's like only sending red blocks.
I need to play that again, wow. The funny thing is they've actually balanced Dan to the point where he's playable now in Street Fighter 4, which makes me very disappointed, because I played him in the original Street Fighter 4 when he was clearly like F tier, and I was still beating people, and it felt amazing. But now it's like, oh, well, you know, he's maybe slightly weaker, but he's actually, you know, he's playable now, and that disappoints me greatly. I think maybe I need to go back to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where he was completely unplayable. Alright, folks, we're in the game. To the northwest position. On the biggest map in the pool, Altisum Stronghold. The map that QXC, I believe, called that damn big blue map. Which is, for the most part, true. In the red trunks, playing Protoss for Team Russia. Roxkiss Titan. Versus his opponent to the east position. Funnily enough, there is an east position right next to the northeast. There is an in-base expansion here. Representing the Ukraine, the monster himself, the beast from the east in the blue trunks, playing Terran Empire Cass.
Oh man, I love... Okay, we are gonna see Nexus first, guaranteed. Command Center first, guaranteed.
Probably.
Come on. Come on, there's no way it can't be that. I mean, this is not even me being a clever commentator. This is me just looking at the map.
It's like, why wouldn't you? It's the perfect opportunity to kind of go for this great metagame cheese and then realize after 2 minutes of traveling across the map you went to the wrong base, and then you just GG out immediately.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh god. I've had that happen before.
Oh.
I still... You know, I remember one of my friends explained to me that one of the best strats ever is to just aggressively proxy one base, and if you scout it and he's not there, you just go, okay, well, that's fine. And then if you do get to the one base, you get reported for hacking.
That does sound about right.
It's perfect. I am a smart person, TB.
Is that Incredible Miracle's new player? I am a smart person?
I am a smart person. I am a smart person.
You know what really bothered me about GOM? Like, it almost made me cancel my GOM subscription.
Uh-oh, wow, made you cancel the whole subscription? Oh, tell me.
Back in GSTL Season 1, they had this American announcer. And, of course, New Star Hoso was in it. And they were playing, and one of New Star Hoso's players is, of course, Tassadar. Or was. But according to Mr. American Street Fighter announcer, oh, no, not at all. It was NS Hoso Tassada.
Tassada. Oh, my god.
I mean, that should be a felony, surely.
Oh my god.
That's horrendous.
That's a heinous Tassada. Oh
Tassada.
god.
Yeah. He also said Alicia, which is completely wrong. So we were annoyed by that as well. And it just went through the entire season. We did inform GOM of this, but we should also point out that this was the same GOM that did our logo wrong for a whole season of GSTL. There was this white box, for some reason, in the background. We have no idea why, but it was there. And it was there for the whole season, and it infuriated me.
Oh, dude, and you know my favorite part is when you got declared the Compians.
Yes, I have my... We're not sure if we're the first foreigners to receive those pins. I think FXO Boss might have got one, but we don't know if they were giving them out to the management staff at that point. Regardless, yes, we have our GSTL Campion pins. I'm feeling good about that. At least they're unique. Like, there's nothing else like that in existence.
Yeah. Well, it looks like every corner in the book is being cut right
Yep,
now. We're seeing Command Center first into 3rd Command Center before 3rd Barracks. We're seeing an engineering bay straight away, so that way he can bunker and turret because, well, I don't really think Koss is scouted. That's right. He's had an SCV out on the map for a few years now, and he doesn't report any disturbances. Mothership Core is going to be scouting for Titan because who needs it at home for defense? And there we see not just Nexus first, but Nexus first into Forge 5 minutes. I actually think Titan is looking more and more like he wants to do some sort of like Warp Prism Templar play, especially with the ordering that he's going for.
Cass's SCV is finally killed off, just like that rover on Mars that got stuck in the dirt.
Oh, it did? I didn't know that.
That was the other one. Curiosity's fine right now. It was, you know, there was that sad rover that got stuck and couldn't move and just kind of sat there transmitting until it was eventually covered in dust. That's what that SCV was like. It was stuck on Mars for a few years and then just slowly died.
God, that is the saddest story in the whole world. Wow.
Someone made a comic of it that almost brought me to the verge of tears. Because apparently it couldn't receive communications anymore, and they characterized it by thinking that its master had left it behind, and it just kept doing its job like a good little rover and was eventually buried.
Oh,
it's like,
oh my God.
That makes me so unhappy.
Oh my God, and did he say things like, I'm a good little rover as he died?
That's exactly what he did, yes.
Oh.
And then remember, it's a piece of machinery, and we shouldn't be feeling that way because we're men.
Ah, yes, very good.
Indeed.
So in the meantime, we see that scan identifies the robotics bay. This is very Titan-esque. Yep.
Yes.
Titan is likely going to be going for armor first and then attack, and going for a blink Colossus play as he takes a third. Pretty typical mix. It allows you to both have the Colossus for dealing with big bioforces, and then has the Stalkers to deal with the flexibility, blinking here and there to deal with medevacs. But the big danger you'll encounter is, of course, when the armies get huge, you really need those High Templar and Zealots.
Double starport coming down here for Cass. Sees the Colossus and says, well, I don't have a starport yet. Probably best catch up on that fact. I really want to take this 3rd base. As does Titan. As it turns out, he's going to take his 3rd as well. So far, we've had 9 minutes of absolutely nothing happening, which is
good.
Typical for Altazian. But it does mean that it's setting us up for some very interesting late-game clashes.
There's Blink, there's the +1 coming out of Protoss. Now, on the Terran side of things, you're almost always going to want 5 barracks with 2 reactor add-ons, 3 tech lab add-ons. These are very typical mixes.
Yep.
Generally speaking, you're going to want 2 starports by the end of the game. And what we're seeing now out of Koss is that he is sprinting to get the double starport up long before he has his barracks 4 and 5 done. This is an extremely atypical ordering that means Koss wants to do a timing attack. He wants to rush in, annihilate the 2 to 3 Colossus that Titan almost certainly has, and then just kill the only Stalker Force remaining.
That was a nice little move there by Koss. He actually spotted a stationary observer. Admittedly, at this point in the game, that's where it's expected to be. He was able to shut that down, though. As he passed under the observer, I imagine he saw that telltale shimmer and was able to shut that down. So that actually leaves a very blind Titan on this map. He can't see anything at this stage.
Now, I want to just say, whoa. Shield upgrade for Titan.
Okay. Interesting move against Koss. I mean, this is a guy that absolutely loves to build his Ghost Academy.
Huh. I mean, this could be Titan just saying, I'm going to go for the super duper, 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 duper late game, and I'm not going to go for a fast 3-3. I'm going to go for 3-3-3 as fast as possible. The critical phase right now is that Titan needs to get charge started. He needs it. He needs his gateway count to be huge. I'm loving the fact that there's 7 gateways in production right now, with 3 already done.
That's massive.
Really love that
but he is
mix,
on 3 bases, so he can make that happen. Absolutely works out. Shield upgrades are ticking over as well. Cass is not ready to attack yet. In fact, I wonder if he even will. He did see 2 bases down, and he said, uh-oh, okay, maybe there's Colossus. Then he spots the 3rd with this Marine that is conveniently placed slightly out of range of the highly advanced Protoss Nexus that can't see more than 5 feet to the right. It eventually is killed by a Colossus that most surely can see more than 5 feet to the right, and now Cass decides, okay, I have a feeling of where he is, I know what he's got, let's go, and charge is not done yet. And SCVs are being pulled as well. Cass really wants to do damage here.
Cass, this is perfect timing. Perfect timing by Cass. Look at the vision from Titan. Sees virtually nothing, but Titan is anticipating this. He knows that this is a weak juncture in his play, so he's beginning to chrono out Immortals, but look at that. Charge is still 80 seconds out. 2 High Templar getting morphed. No Storm anywhere in sight. Those are gonna have to be Archons. I mean, God, what perfect play here by Cass. Perfect timing.
Cass is going to land on the 1-1 here. The Protoss player still has an upgrade advantage, but those Colossus are going to die very, very fast. There are 14 Vikings, which is a huge number, and the Colossus fighting very, very quickly. They're down, and now Cass is just trying to barrel his way through here. The last Colossus falls. Will there be enough firepower from the Protoss? Not even close. Cass barrels through once again. Another warping comes in. We still don't have charge ready. The Marauder Heavy Force doing very well. The Vikings now on the ground here.
There is an Immortal in the backside doing some serious work, and there's only 1 medevac, so amazingly, the double stim from Cass backfired.
It killed him.
Stim. What the heck? How? Oh my gosh, he has only 3 medevacs on the field. Titan with just crisply timed 12 gateways. Wow,
this oh, the Immortal goes down. I think even Cass just wanted to kill that Immortal just out of spite. It was on 1 HP with 10 kills. Bear in mind the composition of that force. Mostly Viking Marauder with some Marine. It probably killed 8+ Marauders and 2 Vikings on its own. That was the MVP of that engagement, and it really held it together. Without that, that would have been a way different fight.
Titan just on point with these transitions. Now he has 13 gateways. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how critical that insta-swap to Immortals was. There was the one Hero Immortal that you just talked about, but there was another one before that that also did similar work. We're seeing a sort of desperation play from Cass where he goes, oh my god, if you counter me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So we're starting to see the push from Titan, and this drop may very well work for Cass.
It certainly could. He's going for it. Straight into the main base. There is absolutely no defense available here whatsoever. The Mothership Core is out of position. It doesn't have the energy anyway, so the drop is going to be pretty intense. However, charge is done. Upgrade heavy Zealots coming in to try and engage here. They do get stuck kind of behind their own mineral line, though. They're eventually working their way through those Marauders, taking an awful lot of time to make that happen. Cass actually not stimming in this position. This drop will eventually be cleaned up, and in the meantime, a huge Zealot run-by from Titan. That's not a Zealot run-by. That's Zealot and Archon going straight into the 3rd base.
I mean, this is an attack at this point. I mean, he is just barreling down with superior upgrades. Titan, who held on with perfect transitions, now has a 3-1-2 level upgrades. I mean, 2 more Archons getting morphed in. Cass completely falling apart without 2-2 done.
Yeah, he is so far behind in upgrades here. Titan strikes with a huge amount of firepower that it seems the Terran player simply cannot stop. Kills 27 workers, puts Cass way behind, takes out the orbital at the front as well, which is even worse here for the Terran player. Now +3 is done. These Zealots are not going to die. Not to 1-1 Marines, not in a million years.
I mean, even with the best kiting he can muster, Cass is in a world of trouble. He didn't even have the time to build a wall off at the front. There's no depots there to assist him. He went a little bit thin. And now we're just seeing Titan rally forward. He doesn't even need to take a 4th.
Man, so many stims coming out of Cass, and that's just a GG right there. Protoss hammers Cass into the ground after a failed attack, a drop, but then a Zealot run by, and then adding in 4 Archons. As he said, it became an attack. And he just said, you know what? Screw it. Look at my upgrades versus yours. I can kill you here.
I mean, this is really, I think, a very intelligent way for Titan to play out the map because it's sort of like two halves. You know, John, I'm going to sneeze, so
As you wish.
let me try to... No. Okay, I'm going to try to say this point, but if I sneeze midway through, John, I need you to just agree. So,
Understood.
here it is. On that map, the first half of Titan's analysis is, well, it's really, really hard to apply pressure early. So that means I can get away with a very nice long-term focus opening. Nexus first, very fast Colossus, very fast Double Forge, very fast Blink, very fast Third, very fast everything except for gateways. So we saw an extremely tiny gateway force as Titan was pulling all these various transitions, because the space between the bases, more than enough time for him to respond to any attack. And then Titan says, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to try to get a fourth or a fifth or anything like that. I'm going to get 13 gateways really fast so I can do not just a massive flood of units to support my existing Colossus force, but, you know, with the warp-in mechanic, I can just barrel down my enemy because for certain the third base of Kos is going to be exposed, and a Zealot heavy force in an exposed area is always going to be in good shape. We did see Titan barely hold on to that when Kos did the SCV pull, but even if Kos hadn't done that SCV pull, Titan would have done virtually the same attack timing. Really, really well done.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It was really nicely put together. Sneeze or no sneeze, I'm going to agree with that analysis there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so clutch, I think, from Titan to actually hold that attack on his third base. Really great use of the Immortal there. Perhaps Kos overdoing it with the Marauders. And Marauders are fantastic, especially against a player that doesn't have Zealot charge. Because even if he brings Zealots into the mix, they have difficulty getting to grips with the actual Terran force there. But when you toss an Immortal in there, then suddenly that force melts a little faster than you might think, and
for sure,
overstimmed units getting picked off by that Immortal. I'd love to actually, see the replay for that. Unfortunately, considering how long that game was, it's not really practical, but I would love to see if there was actual target fire going on with that Immortal on the weakened Marauders, because if there was, that would be fantastic. But whatever the case, it ended up with 10 kills before it finally fell, which is massive. That really decimated that force of his, so very impressive play there by Titan, and I don't think we're going to keep seeing that, because honestly, this is the Ukraine we're talking about. This is not Spain that Titan was able to walk all over. The Ukraine still has Demaga, and of course the Ukraine still has Bly, both very capable of dealing with this matchup.
I mean, they're almost certainly going to be sending out Bly. I mean, he's the perfect choice to deal with a player like Titan. Titan does do these sort of cutesy Warp Prism plays. He likes the Stalker Immortal mix generally in the matchup, with more attacking and less of the long-term Colossus Templar late-game stuffs, and I think Bly performs very well in those low econ situations in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It seems like he should be able to handle this. Let's see who decides to... Yes, it will absolutely be Bly, and let's see what map he picked more to the point. That's the biggest map out of the pool. He picks Habitation Station, which is definitely a nice map for Zerg.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Habitation Station, I think, as much as people want to talk about the gold, it can be considered as a secondary point, and Zerg can very straightforwardly go for a big Mutaling play, because the Protoss, in a lot of ways, is committed to going for that gold base. I mean, it's the closest, it's the most defensible when you consider air, all this sort of stuff. Kind of pins Protoss to that decision. Not that it's a bad one, because hey, it's a gold base, but that sort of predictability in the Protoss play, I think, the Zerg can exploit.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Well, we will see very shortly. We don't want to take a break here. Bly's already in. We're just waiting for Titan, who is not in the lobby as of yet, and once he is, we'll be jumping into that game pretty much immediately. We want to try and get this done, mostly because I think both of us actually have a hard out at 7 hours 30 into this cast. I have to leave. Yep. My graphic designer is actually going home to Romania tomorrow, so we're going out for a meal that we've scheduled for like the last 2 weeks. And I head to Morton's, get a nice piece of steak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Wow. I wish that's why I had to go, but I'm on the work train. Woo!
Oh, dear. But
hell yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons I like to go to the Anaheim events. Is there's just a Morton's right down the street from the hotel. It's very convenient. It's like, oh, I want steak? I can do that. Oh, I don't want Morton's steak? Well, there's a Ruth's Chris right down the street as well. It's perfect.
Now, the real question is, are they within walking distance? Can you just, like, go on a stroll to a steakhouse?
In Anaheim, you can.
Oh, yeah, for certain in Anaheim. I even know the Mortonsons you're talking about.
Yeah, indeed. I saw you there before, actually. You were dining with some very important people.
Oh, well, I mean, wow. I like the way you say that. I mean, like, there was the President of the United States there.
Yeah, he was there.
There was the UN consulate.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Newell was there.
He was, actually, yeah.
I like him.
Gabe Newell is... I've unfortunately never got to meet Gabe. I do intend to do that at some point, but never got to meet him.
You know, okay, so I'm going to do a statement followed by a transition. Everyone looks up to Gabe Newell and Valve. They're just brilliant.
Yes.
And there's those other gaming companies that are just standard ones to look up to as well. Riot, Blizzard, consistent makers of good games. You can even throw in some of the great single-player games makers like Naughty Dog, Bethesda. But I think there's one that doesn't get praised enough.
Okay.
And that's Telltale Games.
Ah, all right. Yeah,
dude,
I'll give you that.
Man, like, I played through The Walking Dead, of course, that's an amazing game. Wolf Among Us is just fantastically art directored.
I enjoyed that more than anything Telltale has done so far, honestly.
Yeah, damn, was that good.
Yeah, and then I was like, where's the next episode? It was actually a few days ago. We were on the podcast with someone I believe you know very well, actually. Nika Harper was there, and she used to work for Telltale. And we were talking about, well, hang on a minute. Where the hell did The Wolf Among Us go? We played the first episode in October, and then we waited three and a half months, still no sign of it, and Reddit got upset, and then suddenly a statement comes out and says, guys, sorry, there's been like an unprecedented delay in this release. We're going to bring it out in February, and then everybody was rejoicing once again.
Yeah, and you know, like, honestly, I think that Telltale gets a free pass for, like, at least a year's worth of delays. Like, they have built up so much reputation, like, you know, especially if you play the old Sam & Max games and, like, Monkey Island games and the Jurassic Parks. Like, they were, like,
Don't
never late.
Don't mention Jurassic Park. Have you played Jurassic Park?
That's one I have not played.
Don't. It will sully your opinion of Telltale forever. It is horrible.
Well, you know, they are still on time with, like, everything they've ever done, and, like, no game has ever been on time in the history of gaming. And the fact that they delivered a chapter every month with Wolf Among Us, I'm like, dude, go ahead, take till May. I'm okay with that.
I'm not. But then again, this is, I think, the first Telltale game I bought in kind of at the very start. I say bought in, they gave me my review copy, but... And then I just got committed to it. I played the whole thing through, and I want to know the rest of it, because it does end on a fairly... I wouldn't say a cliffhanger per se, but it certainly ends on a I want to see what the hell happens kind of moment, so... Alright, Titan is rebooted. We're finally ready to go.
I like that play by Titan to do that rebooting. I think that's something that is rarely talked about, that you and I will know a lot about as people who've had to deal with video encoding bullshit. Sometimes computers can just be finicky. There can be improper memory dumps in the GPU. So you reboot to make sure you don't get any blips at all.
Absolutely. Sometimes XSplit can quite literally spit out 5,000 errors in 1 second and just break your whole machine. That can happen.
Well, I mean, you know, you'll get little things like sometimes Chrome doesn't empty its memory cache completely. Little applications that you wouldn't have thought of, you know, just eating up a little bit more memory over time. Yep. And then when you start playing, you just get a little blip, 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 blip at a time when you just didn't quite want it. And given how, you know, razor thin StarCraft 2 is, if that force field comes down 20 frames late, you're dead. So I really like the fact that Titan just said, just to be safe, I'm rebooting.
Yeah.
I'll be back on as fast as I can.
That's absolutely true. Speaking of which, actually, I've decided to stop using Chrome because Chrome runs too many instances of itself, and I'm getting sick of it. Although I'll tell you what's so satisfying, when you find out there's about 20 instances of Chrome running, even though there shouldn't be, you find the one with the highest memory, you right-click on it in the task manager, you click End Process Tree, and the whole thing collapses in on itself, and it's just...
Oh, that's so good. Dude, that's like in Magic the Gathering when the guy has a whole bunch of creatures that buff each other, and you kill one that causes the cast